Hello friends, today we're going to be covering the very important topic of how you manage conflict within a team. What happens when conflicts arise in a team? Are you equipped with the right tools to diffuse it quickly and get back on track? Well, by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to manage conflict within your team and provide some surefire ways to get back on track when those problems arise. Over the last 2 decades, I've seen conflicts arise in teams that have literally shut down performance. I've seen conflicts that have been handled the right way and conflicts that have definitely been handled the wrong way. So what is the right way when it comes to managing conflicts within a team? Well, don't fear, because I'm going to answer that specific question by diving into what causes conflicts in a team. I'll follow that up by helping you understand the right way and the wrong way to deal with conflicts in a team. And finally, I want to give you some golden nuggets that will help you manage any conflicts that may arise. If you're ready, let's go. So what are the usual causes of conflicts within a team? There's a lot of them, and this could be up for debate, but here's some that I've seen in our organization that we worked with. One, personality conflicts, right? People might just be completely different in their personalities. Poor communication. Usually that leads to some sort of conflict. If we're not good at communicating or somebody can't communicate to somebody else, usually that conflicts will arise or they'll fester up until they do arise. Another one is ambiguous expectations. I've always found if the person that you're managing or the team that you're working with, if they can't repeat back to you your expectations of them, then there's going to be ambiguity in there and there's going to arise conflicts because they do not fully understand what is expected of them. Another one is resistance to change. You know, there was a saying that a person I worked with previously would always say, he says, either change your people or change your people. Meaning that if you can't change them through training, through helping them understand situations, through clarity, then at some point you might have to change your people. If they're not willing to change, eventually the only thing that can be done is changing them out. And just a final one that we've seen a lot in our organization is lack of clarity in roles and responsibilities. Now, this is something I've seen in our organization. When we put a structure in place for our sales teams, we had a team leader, and underneath that team leader, we had consultants and closers. Now, we had an idea many years back that we could provide growth and opportunity and help for the team leader by creating an assistant team leader. So each team would have 2 assistant team leaders, and under those assistant team leaders were sales reps that they were working with. And usually those assistant team leaders were closers. They were kind of that next step to become a team leader. So they were a team leader in training, but they were still under the team leader. Now, the challenge there is we were really clear on our definition of roles and responsibilities for each individual. So I remember one time we had a team leader that was just furious because he felt like the assistant team leader was doing what he should be doing. And the assistant team leader was upset because they felt like the team leader was stepping on their toes when they had just been willing to step into this new role and do the things that were asked of them. Ultimately, it fell upon us as management that we weren't clear in their roles and responsibilities, and that caused conflict. If we would have said, hey, assistant team leader, here's your roles and responsibilities for the people that you're managing, and team leader, here's how you manage the new structure of your team, it would have been so much better. But because we didn't do that, there was a conflict that arose with that team. And obviously there's many more that could be part of reasons why there's conflicts within a team, but those are some that I've seen. Without doubt, we know that conflicts will arise. They seem to no matter what, right? And some teams are better than others. They can resolve it internally, but eventually when a conflict does arise, what do we do? And even before that happens, I love the story of the person who warned somebody about the waterfall in the river, right? Now there's 2 examples. Before conflicts arise, we can maybe think about those. What could those potentially be? We want to go way upstream and put procedures and policies in place that avoid those, right? It's kind of like the example of the waterfall. Somebody goes way upstream and says, hey, there's a waterfall, rather than standing right at the waterfall and say, hey, there's a waterfall, when you know there's not enough time to maybe change course or to get out of danger. So when we're thinking about resolving conflicts, we want to resolve them before they even happen by going way upstream to make sure we've thought through the processes and procedures that will allow this to be more of a cohesive unit versus trying to fix it right before it explodes. I also believe clarity is key, right? If we're completely clear in our expectations and what we want from the team, what we want from each individual on the team, I really believe that that can eliminate a lot of the confusion that comes that eventually festers up to cause conflicts. One of my favorite books ever is Good to Great. In that book, he talks about having the right people on the bus. What that means is within your organization, you want the right people on the bus. If the company's the bus, you want the right people on there. And usually if you have the right people, things will go well. But even more so and beyond that is the right people on the right seats in the bus. So even though you have the right people on the bus, having them in the right seats is key to have a cohesive unit that can resolve conflicts easy and move forward despite what happens. Also, the people that are on the bus, people within the organization, the sales organizations, they also need to be open to feedback. What are the wrong ways and right ways to deal with conflict? First, let's talk about the wrong way. One of the worst things you can do when conflicts arise is to sweep it under the rug. Just kind of say, oh, okay, yep, gotcha, no problem. All right, continue on. That doesn't solve anything, right? So brushing under the rug can actually cause it to fester and become worse down the road. Another thing is don't give any credence or concern. If you just, if you don't, okay, no big deal. If you treat it like it's not a big deal when for them it is, that also is a wrong way to handle it. and can create a massive blow up at some time down the road. I've seen many employees over time that have bottled up their frustrations when someone didn't give credence to their concern or their challenge, and they continued to just let that fester inside of them to where it became a massive issue down the road. So not giving credence to it, brushing it under the rug is definitely not the right way to handle it. So what is the right way to handle conflict within a team? First off, I think you need to listen and provide solutions. I love a solution-oriented mindset, right? You come to them, say, hey, I understand what's happening, and you spend time listening, right? You just don't hurry them through the process, but actually listening to them is half the battle. If they feel like they're being listened to, chances are that's probably one of the things they need most is somebody just to listen to their concern. And if you provide solutions, you're not just brushing it under the rug, you're not giving credence to it, but you're actually validating it to help them with a solution that might change it. Now, when I say validating it, I don't mean that, hey, you're completely right in this situation or that situation, but you let them know that they're being heard, and a solution can ultimately help them resolve that conflict that arose. And you've got to make them feel important, that you value their input, right? Listening is a big part of that, but valuing their input, if it's somebody you value within your organization and they come to you with a concern, with a conflict or a potential conflict, by you telling them, listen, I appreciate your feedback, let me dive into this, let me find out some solutions, or let's talk together. Once again, they feel important, they feel like they're listened to. Ultimately, I feel if both sides feel like they're heard and understood, usually any conflict can be resolved. Now, finally, here's a couple of nuggets that have worked really well for me in my organizations. I like to go with the kind of the approach like, I understand, or I see where you're coming from, I care about the issue, and I want to help you resolve it. If they know that you understand or you see where they're coming from, they know that you care about it and you care about them and you want to resolve it, that for me has almost resolved any conflict that has ever arisen in any organization I've been a part of. Because one, they feel like they're being listened to, they feel like I care, and they feel like ultimately we're going to come to a better solution that's maybe in place. And ultimately, I want that in my organization. If I have a valued employee that says, hey, this is what I'm seeing, here's a conflict with me and my team or me and my management, and they have an idea to make it better, and we can work together to resolve that and level up the experience of everyone, isn't that a better situation for the company anyway? Also, I like to know that I really believe that any conflict can be resolved, right? I'd say most can. And by helping them understand that a resolved conflict within a team actually strengthens bonds, it's like when something is maybe welded together, right, that came apart, it can still have a pretty strong bond there that lasts for a long, long time. And the same thing is within a team. If the conflict arises and both parties understand that it can be resolved and you believe in them and that by coming together can actually make them stronger by resolving it, that's a powerful image for anybody to realize that once resolved, the team can continue to grow and become stronger together. And I think the last thing is both parties need to agree that it's resolved. If somebody feels it's resolved but the other one doesn't, then there's going to be challenges. And like I said, it's not going to be a perfect world. You might have that scenario, but I had an experience one time where I had a team leader, an assistant team leader that worked together, and they just had a massive conflict. I tried to get these individuals to work together, and ultimately they said that they would, but really just festered with this one individual. Ultimately, he just couldn't be a part of the team because he didn't feel like he was being listened to. And so I found early and often that if we're able to help these people come together and realize that they both agree that it's been resolved, and if it hasn't, you've got to continue to work until it is resolved. Once it's resolved and they both agree upon it, good things usually happen at that point. Now, these are things that I've done in my organizations that have worked well for me, but I'd love to hear your feedback. What have you seen? What have you done? What have you used? Please comment below. I'd love to engage in a dialogue with you. And as always, I got my free training below, aaronsalestraining.com. It's 12 modules of our best sales training on persuasion and influence. Feel free to click on the link and utilize it for your teams. It's the training that we've used for all of our sales team and has really helped us elevate our sales to the next level. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Have an awesome day.